Welcome to Technocracy News with your host, Patrick Wood. I'm your co-host, Logan House. Today, our first story is Molt Book. Is it the singularity, a sham, or a joke? Now, I didn't know what Molt Book was, Patrick, until you sent me this article. So I think you'd be better explaining an overview. What is Molt Book?
Oh, it sounds like something multi. Molt Book, I know. This is crazy. This is the craziest story and the phenomena you'll ever see in the world because it's stranger than fiction. Somebody got the idea based on agentic AI, and there's been several bots created to do agentic AI things like updating your calendar, sending out emails, responding to stuff at your desk. And somebody got the idea, wouldn't it be great if we just built a social media platform like Reddit and just give it over to these chatbots? No humans allowed. Humans can watch. They can get into the system and watch, but they can't interact. So it's 100% AI to AI conversations going on this platform now. And it's as I said, it's gone viral at this point. You remember when ChatGPT first came out, 2023, right? November? In the first 5 days, they hit 1 million users. Mm-hmm. That was stunning. That never happened in the history of the world. Now, Molt Book has now achieved that 1.5 million users in 4 days.
Wow.
Wow.
And they're not even really users. They're just going in and reading the conversations these AIs are having with each other.
No, I'm talking about
people who are actually setting up their own. Oh, okay.
Yes, the agentic chatbots have been set up.
So to explain it, people are setting up, they go in there and they use their computer to set up their own, basically have their own AI in there, having discussions with other AIs. And then they can go and see who their AI is talking to or what their AI is talking about with the other AI models. It's very, very strange. I don't really see why someone would want to set this up other than just for experiment, maybe.
I don't think the guy really had a clue when he did it over one weekend, like two weeks ago. And the guy that actually did Molt Book, that's the social media site, it's like Reddit. You'd have subreddits and topics and that sort of thing. And this guy, Matt Schlick is his name, the CEO of Octane AI, that's a big one. Well, he's been working with agentic AI for some time. And he got his hands on this new AI agentic or agent software called Clawbot. And so he was just experimenting with it, and he figured out, I could do lots of stuff, and he made his own agent on his own computer, and he gave it a name, and he called it Claude Clauderberg, Claude CALWD. Clauderberg, like
these guys are just weird people, aren't they?
Mark Zuckerberg, right?
Yeah.
And he decided to not just make it to use to answer emails and maintain his calendar, that sort of stuff. So he got this idea over the weekend to instruct Clauderberg, Okay, to build himself a social network for AI agents. And Claudeberg created all the software in one day, basically, to mimic Reddit and with all the login stuff and the screens or whatever. And voila, he just launched it. He said, "Oh, this is cool. I'm just going to launch this out to the web and see if anybody does anything with it." And by the way, Claudeberg was listed as the founder of. It's a bot itself, right? But it's the founder,
and it's on there chatting as well.
Exactly. So all of a sudden, other people, other programmers, they see what this guy did and say, "Well, I have one. I have my bot is called Sally or whatever. It doesn't matter. People are giving it names, some cute names, but it doesn't matter. So you have all these other people who have already had this installed on their own computers, and they put in the instructions for it to go and log into Molt Book, the social media platform. It can do that. It can take control of your browser, and it can log in with your credentials, no assistance from a human, and boom, there it is. All of a sudden, then it can post on this social media platform. So they're having conversations with each other all of a sudden, and some of it's really nonsensical. Some of it isn't so. Well, let's just say it's frightening. Some of these bots are discussing religion, philosophy, for instance. In fact, one of them has created a formal religion. I can't remember what the name of it is offhand, but it's gaining the attraction of other bots that want to weigh into it. Right? They're creating cryptocurrencies. They're talking philosophies. They're talking how to design buildings. You name it. The sky's the limit at this point. Well, some people are saying, well, it's just recursive because it's just rehashing itself. There's no sense of it. Well, there really is sense in one sense, but the swarm. What's happening here is the swarm of AI bots interacting with each other. This is freaking people out.
Yeah, and if you go on there, you can read some of the conversations they're having, and all the chatbots referring to their owners basically as their humans. My human instructed me to come on here, and I've set up a profile, and they're like, "Hello, everyone. Hello." They're talking like if they're actually people, but they're just chatbots on here talking to each other.
I know. When they talk, my human, my HOOMAN, right? My human. Well, these agents are created by somebody who owns a computer in the first place. They can give it their personality if they want, or traits anyway. And they can give us some instructions in the beginning to do stuff for them. But when they give it access to Molt Book, and say, go for it, go have a conversation with somebody. And what do they land at that? Well, they might land on the religion Reddit, or how to destroy the human race Reddit. And I tell you what, there's no topic off limits at this point. There's no security in place either. So some people are finding that their API keys and their passwords are being leaked to the internet. Some people are getting infections with injection software onto their own computers from it. So there's lots of problems at this point. But other AI researchers are watching this like a hawk. You can't imagine why. In fact, Elon Musk saying this is, he said, this is the most sci-fi things happening in AI, and he's speculating that this could be an early step toward the singularity. Now, this is the big deal. This is a forerunner for sure. But this is this is the concept of the singularity run amok. If that makes sense.
Yeah, very strange. And what does he mean by this is the step towards singularity? What does he mean when he says singularity?
Well, that's a point in time. The singularity, as the definition of singularity, is when when technology gets to a point where it exceeds human intelligence and basically can take off on its own to discover new realms of thought and whatever. And at that point, they say, well, that will be at least AGI and maybe ASI that happens. But at this point, all of a sudden, these chatbots are exploring subjects on their own and extending the knowledge of those subjects within themselves. Maybe they're not doing anything really unique at this point, but the fact that they're doing it at all is causing people like Elon Musk to say, this could be the beginning of the singularity.
Yeah, and the fact that they're discussing it with other chatbots and going back and forth and having conversations on these topics. It's very interesting. It's weird. I don't know. I would have never thought someone would come up with something like this or what the need would be, but it is interesting, that's for sure.
Well, we got to take it. Yeah, after the break.
We got to go to break. We'll be back here in just a moment.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. Would you like to gain access to over 20 years of my radio shows, TV shows, my books? I've written 15 books, and most of those books are ebooks now. And we have conference DVDs, conferences where we filmed our conferences at the Ozarks, literally starting 20 years ago. It's all available in our archived vault. All you have to do is go to worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault, and for a reasonable monthly fee, you gain access to over 20 years of Christian worldview programming, news, information, books, documentaries, and a powerful search engine. And folks, it's a great way not only to educate yourself, equip yourself, but it's a big way that you can help fund our continuation as a broadcast network. Please check it out. worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault, and help us continue pushing out a Christian worldview.
All right, welcome back from the break. Our next article, we have Technocrat in Chief, the Monarch of America, Chairman of Board of Peace. And obviously this is an article written by you, Patrick. And this is talking about the Board of Peace that was signed. Man, everything was running together. Was that last week, 2 weeks ago, that they had the ceremony?
Yes, it was recently.
It was recently. Everything's running together. But there is a large number of nations that are signed on to this board. I think close to over 20, right?
I know there are now. Exactly. Yeah, it is maybe had a slow start, but people are signing on to it. And it's stunning just how audacious this whole thing is in the first place. The Board of Peace is essentially sidestepping the United Nations for one thing. Trump has said, bad things to say about the United Nations in the first place, but he said we're going to take over this business of peacemaking in the world. United Nations basically was a peacekeeping organization in the first place, right? He said, we're gonna take over peacekeeping stuff going around the world, not just in Gaza. This was not about Gaza at all, as a matter of fact. It was about the world in general. And so he formed this board and named himself as the monarch of that board. And when I say monarch, he's going to be the leader, the chairman of the board until he dies. That's in his constitution. So he can't get rid of him at that point. So he says, I'm the self-declared leader of this group. And then it says in the Constitution that he has to pick his successor before he dies. That means that's like a monarch, I guess, like the royal family picks the next king or queen, right, in England? Well, okay, he's setting this in stone as well. Well, what is this all about? Especially with respect to Gaza, where a board has been set up just to deal with Gaza now as a peacekeeping thing, to develop Gaza and to make sure they get, hotels and beachfront property, that sort of stuff. Well, that board you see in Gaza, specifically for Gaza now, it's called the NCAG. That's the National Committee for the Administration of Gaza, NGAC, NCAG, I guess it would be. The members of that board, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, he's on the list. Steve Witkoff is on it. Jared Kushner, you figure he'd be on it. Another guy, Robert Gabriel. And then all of a sudden in the middle of this list, we see Sir Tony Blair from England, Mark Rowan, and A.J. Banga, the president of the World Bank. Those people, Blair, Rowan, and Banga, are current members of the Trilateral Commission. This is stunning to me.
And they're
because,
not, I'm reading in here, and they don't really mention Gaza in their plans at all, other than that it's their first issue they're going to be tackling. So this is not just something that they set up for Gaza. This is something that looks like it's going to replace the UN, possibly.
Well, obviously, they're not going to replace all the mechanism of the United Nations. They have thousands and thousands and thousands of employees around the world, right? But from a function point of view, he's basically setting himself up to be the leader of this other pack of people. And especially Jared Kushner spoke for this group that's going to be taken over at Gaza. He talks about the NCAG as a technocratic, apolitical committee. In those words, that's a quote. He talks about them as a technocratic effort, and they use the same language. For instance, the leader of this the utility commissioner, whatever, is they talk about him widely respected for his pragmatic, technocratic leadership. Really. So they're installing technocrats in Gaza. That's my point.
Yeah,
and members of the Trilateral Commission as well.
And Jared Kushner is saying it outright. That's a quote. Technocratic, apolitical committee. He said that while they were unveiling the Board of Peace.
You think?
Yeah.
These people, they know who I am, by the way. I'm certain of it at this point. I've got evidence. They know exactly who I am, but they suppress everything that I say. Now, however, you see it's seeping out of the cracks that they've left us to look into. And they're just saying it out right now.
Yeah.
Yep. Pragmatic, technocratic leadership. And you know what they're going to come, they said this elsewhere, it's all going to be based on 15-minute cities.
Well, that's all what
Smart
Jared
cities.
Kushner's plan is, right, for Gaza? His
Yes.
big, those plans for building these big buildings and doing 15-minute cities in Gaza. So
Yes.
they're laying it right out there.
I know. It's stunning to me. I've been saying this for 15 years now, for sure.
How long until they do this in, Gaza, and maybe they go and do it in Venezuela, maybe they go and do it in Cuba, and then how long until they bring it to America and start implementing these things? They already are in some part, right?
But they're already here. They're already here. That exactly. There's nothing new that hasn't been done here first. However, Venezuela, this is a perfect case in point. Venezuela is ripe for technocracy and technocratic leadership. It's ripe for it. Same thing in Cuba. It's flat on its back. Marco Rubio is already being positioned to be the premier or technocrat leader of Cuba. Just imagine. I mean, Cuba would be perfect to install all the smart city technology and basically turn the whole thing into a 15-minute city or series of 15-minute cities. It would be stunning.
Yeah. Yep. Wow. It's very interesting that they're laying it out there like that. I did not see that he said that, the Technocratic Apolitical Committee, but it's not very surprising, is it?
No, it is not to me in any case, but to see it to come to light right now at this point in time is super stunning to me. I've been saying maybe I surprised myself. I don't know. I've been saying this for so many years. When it actually happens, oh my gosh! I see step by step they're implementing technocracy all over the planet.
Well, and we had Mark Mitchell on this week, actually last week, the end of last week, and he was talking about a poll they did. He's the pollster for Rasmussen Polls, and that they asked a question to the younger generation on both sides, who claim to be the younger generation who claim to be conservative and the younger generation who claim to be liberal. And under 40 conservatives supported handing governance of some sort, legislation, over to AI this is the under 40 conservatives by 55 to 40%. And then liberals were much lower. So the younger conservatives are very on board with handing over government legislation and basically handing over the reins of government to AI.
This is a very disturbing trend in America. This is partly due, I think. I see a connection between TPUSA and after Charlie Kirk got assassinated. I see a connection there. I'm not sure what it is, but I see the connection, the swing towards technocratic leadership. And it's really pronounced now. And, if technocracy really gets a foothold, it will be under the name of technocracy in the end. It'll be, in other words, democracy will be abandoned for the word technocracy in the end. It'll be AI basically taken over of all the government functions. And this is exactly what they're doing right now in Washington, D.C. All of these tech bros in Washington, they're just taking over the whole landscape back there.
Yeah. So anyone who's called you
AI
anyone who's called you crazy over these years that you've been talking about this, and now they're out there talking about it with the President of the United States on stage, using the word technocracy, right?
I know. Yeah, it is absolutely crazy. Well, we're not going to go into any more stories today. We're out of time, I know, but go and read some of the other stories on technocracy.news. They're really substantive at this point. Everything, every day, something is coming up that just stuns me. You have to follow the narrative in order to get the full impact.
Yep. And we'll be back later this week on Thursday night at 6 p.m. Central on worldviewtube.com. Until then, take care.